The stage was buzzing with excitement. It was another packed night at Philippines Got Talent, lights beaming, cameras rolling, and a crowd waiting to be amazed. The energy inside the studio was electric, every audience member on edge for the next big act that could change everything. Suddenly, the host's voice boomed. Next up, we have Rafael Aguilar. A young man in his early 20s walked in quietly, holding a worn-out guitar. His clothes were simple, faded jeans, a plain white shirt, and old sneakers. But there was something different about him, a calm determination in his eyes, as though he had carried the weight of 1,000 untold stories. He took a slow breath before stepping into the spotlight. The judges' panel included some of the biggest names, Angel Locsin, Vice Ganda, and that night's special international guest judge, Simon Cowell. The moment Simon saw Rafael, he tilted his head, intrigued but doubtful. Vice smiled. "Hi, what's your name, sweetheart?" Rafael Aguilar, he said softly. The name caused a subtle stir. Angel looked at Vice, her eyes wide. "Aguilar, as in Freddie Aguilar." Rafael nodded. "Yes, he's my father." The audience gasped. A wave of murmurs rippled across the theater. Simon leaned forward, clearly puzzled. "Wait, Freddie Aguilar, the man who wrote Anak, right?" "Yes, sir," Rafael replied, gripping his guitar tighter. "But I never met him." A heavy silence filled the room. Everyone was trying to understand what he meant. Simon's voice cut through the tension. "You're saying you're Freddie Aguilar's son, but you've never met him?" Rafael nodded. "My mother raised me alone. I only knew my father through his music. And tonight, I want to sing the song that connected me to him, in my own way." That single line caught Simon off guard. His skeptical frown softened slightly. He sat back, crossing his arms, curiosity taking over. The lights dimmed. A hush fell over the audience. The stage turned blue, and a single spotlight shone on Rafael. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes. The studio was silent enough to hear his fingers brush against the guitar strings. Simon whispered under his breath, "All right, show me what you've got." The boy strummed his guitar, and from that first chord, there was something hauntingly familiar, yet deeply personal. The story of an unknown son about to reclaim a name. The judges didn't know it yet, but they were about to witness something that would be remembered for years. The mystery had begun. The first notes of Anak floated through the air like a ghost from the past. But this wasn't the old version people had grown up with. Rafael had reimagined it, an acoustic soul fusion, mixing English and Tagalog verses, carrying both his pain and his hope. "Ang mundo ay gulong gulo, but I'll find my way through," he sang, his voice trembling at first, fragile, uncertain, until it began to soar. Behind him, the big LED screen showed black and white clips. A little boy selling street food, sleeping on cardboard under neon signs, clutching a small guitar. The visuals told his real story, a life of struggle and isolation. The crowd was transfixed. You could hear sniffles from the audience, even the cameramen struggling to hold back emotion. The judges had turned silent. Vice had tears in his eyes, Angel pressed her hands to her heart. But the most powerful reaction came from Simon. At first, Simon's face was unreadable, the same cold, analyzing look he always had when judging singers. But as Rafael's voice grew, filling the theater with aching beauty, Simon's eyes began to glisten. His posture softened. He leaned forward, elbows on the table, his lips parting as if to say something, but he couldn't. Rafael reached the song's emotional climax. "Maybe he never knew my name, but I still sing his song." The entire room stood up. A wave of applause thundered through the hall. Some were crying, others clapping above their heads, chanting, "Golden buzzer! Golden buzzer!" Simon stood slowly, shaking his head in disbelief. That was extraordinary. His voice cracked slightly. "You didn't just sing your father's song, you rewrote it with your soul." Before Rafael could react, Simon pressed the golden buzzer. Gold confetti exploded from above, raining down like a dream. Rafael dropped to his knees, tears flooding his eyes. He clutched his guitar and looked up at the golden rain falling over him. The judges ran to hug him. The audience chanted his name. Simon stepped onto the stage, looked Rafael in the eye, and said, "Your father would be proud, but tonight, you made your own name." It was the kind of moment that transcended television, pure, human, unforgettable. Backstage, after the performance, Raphael sat in a quiet corner, still trembling. He held his guitar close, golden confetti still tangled in his hair. The cameras followed him as he whispered, "I never thought I'd come this far. I just wanted to sing for him." Simon walked in quietly. The cameras caught the rare softness in Simon's eyes. He extended his hand and said, "You didn't just perform, Raphael, you healed something in all of us tonight." Raphael smiled shyly. "Thank you, sir. I just hope he saw it." Before Simon could answer, the stage manager rushed in. "Simon, we have a surprise." The doors opened. A man in his 70s walked in slowly, supported by two assistants. His face was instantly recognizable, Freddie Aguilar himself. The room froze. Raphael's eyes widened, his lips quivered. For a moment, he couldn't move. Then, as Freddie approached, tears rolled down both their faces. Freddie spoke first, voice shaky. "I heard your voice, and I knew that sound was mine too." Raphael ran to him, falling into his father's arms. The audience watching the live feed erupted into tears. It was the reunion the world didn't know it was waiting for. The cameras captured everything, Simon wiping his eyes, the crew clapping softly, the music playing softly in the background. Freddie whispered, "You sang my song better than I ever did, because you gave it new life." Simon stepped closer and said gently, "You didn't just inherit his blood, Raphael. You inherited his courage." The father and son turned toward the camera, arms around each other. Freddie lifted Raphael's hand and said, "This is my son. And tonight, the legacy continues." The final shot zoomed in on Simon's emotional face as he whispered into the mic, "And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what music is all about." The screen faded to black. The internet exploded. Within hours, clips of the performance went viral, millions of views, millions of tears. A story that began with doubt ended with destiny fulfilled, a son finding his father through the same song that once made him famous. The legend of Freddie Aguilar's son had just begun.